Shame. 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 Shame.
What's going on, YouTube? Your host, you know who it is. Good morning, good morning. Your host, you know who it is. Good morning, good morning. You guys might as well wake on up and come on in. Guys might as well wake on up and come on in. Hold on, let me fix this. Let me get rid of this shit. Hold on, let me fix this. Shame TV East Watch. Excuse me. Um, Shame TV East Watch. Excuse me. We're going to have a conversation today about a couple of different things. I hope everybody enjoys. We're going to have a conversation today about a couple of different things. I'm trying to share some of the video right now to let everybody know I'm live. So, trying to share some of the video right now. That's what's happening. Hope everybody had a good, safe evening. And prepare for a cool day. Hope everybody had a good, safe evening. What up? What up, Wax? Let me turn it. All right, here we go. Who's in here? Triple C, Bill. What's going on, people? Tulsa, Lady Asaya. Welcome, welcome. Does the echo should be gone now? I turned it down. Because I might just mute it and just use my okay, we good. So what's going on, people? Welcome to Shame TV East Watch. I am your host, you know who it is. Today we will be talking about Drake and his blackface. We will hear his supposed explanation for it. Cynthia G is now completely on trial, it appears. A night ago or so, it appears that she was on a panel. And not only was she being questioned by brothers, because we are now starting to realize that Cynthia G appears to be not completely about what she says and wants to pretty much join the people who she called the European, whatever the fucks she calls them, albinoid, cave, whatever. She wants to join them in the bashing of brothers. Now she came out in a way that didn't appear to be so, but as time goes on, you get to learn how people really are, see what they're really about, etc., and you move on, and they reveal themselves. So, but we'll question a lot. We'll listen to a lot of that shit. Yeah, she has. She admitted such. And we're gonna revisit racist Ric Flair. I was getting comments from that. I still get comments from that video, guys. And I did that video almost a year ago or so. It's been at least a year. So I still get comments from that video, and the reason why I'm revisiting it today is because I got a comment from a person who was like, "Yo, I had never even heard of that shit until peace, welcome. I had never even heard of it until he saw my video." So I said, I guess what we'll do is revisit it and let it be known. Yes, Ric Flair, the one who walks around, woo, and how everyone, especially brothers and sisters who are into wrestling, do the Ric Flair strut and that Nature Boy, and he was on what is it, First Take with Stephen A. Smith either earlier this year or late last year. So it was around January or December time. He was up there with Stephen A. Smith, um, talking. Stephen A. Smith doing what most brothers and sisters do when they meet um, Ric Flair. They start, woo, oh, we love you, Nature Boy, and all of this. And the whole while, when he was coming up in the business behind the scenes, the brother Teddy Long, who most of you who watch wrestling know, that he was an official, as a referee. He was a manager, etc., commissioner at one time, some shit like that. So general manager, excuse me. But anyway, yeah, Ric Flair used to call him nigger. Like it's a video out. Well, excuse me, not any longer. I can't find it, but the video is still in my head because I watched it. Where Teddy Long, because that one's taken down, and I think the one that I have is probably gone too. But I still have it. I recorded it, and what the first video I ever saw with Teddy Long was calling him, excuse me, was giving an interview and saying how Ric Flair was very nasty to him and shit like that. And he was talking about how he used to call him nigger more than he called him his name, is what he said. That's why it struck me and it's still stuck with me. He said at one point Ric Flair used to call me nigger more than he called me my name. So I'll let you hear some of that yourself, when we revisit that in a few. And lastly, just a question. This one's just a question, and we're not going to really spend too much time on it, but we'll be periodically asking this question throughout the night. Has anyone, and I mean anyone, heard from SOS? We want to know, has anyone heard from SOS? Is there anything, is something wrong? Are we going to finally hear what actually happened with this logo and why it existed prior to you people using it? Like, we're not gonna hog the show with it, but we are going to let it be known that we have not forgotten, we will not forget, and we will not have it. We will not have it.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Now, let's start off with Drake and this blackface shit so we could get this shit over with. I want to see that movie too.
You're watching The Breakfast Club. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV Angela Yee. Showing me now we are on The Breakfast Club. Now, you join us. We're talking about the T. He just called in and we played his disc record. And we're asking, what do you think of the record? Gentlemen.
I think the record is dope. I think that the series is now 2-1. The reason I gotta say 2-1 because to me, Drake and Blackface, which is the cover of that record, it makes the line from infrared. So I don't have to answer the crackers the same man, be the hardest bar, this lyrical warfare so far. And
now, for those who may not have known, it appears that Drake has donned the blackface. Now, I have photos of it. I'm not going to show it tonight, not especially on my stream. I don't feel like the hassle of the team flaggers and all of that stuff like that. But what I will say is this. It is real. He did it. He even admitted to such. The crazy part about it is he was wearing a shirt called Jim Crow Couture whilst doing so. You know, so it's a whole big thing going on now about it. Now, through this little rap battle by Pusha T and Drake, it started to get personal. It started to, it's now reached family members where people are talking about people's family members, significant others. People are talking about other people's children, the lack of raising children, basically saying Drake is a deadbeat dad, all of these things like that. But what we're focusing on right now, yes, Jim Crow Couture. And what we're focusing on now is the reason behind it. Now, Drake says that there is a reason. Drake says that there's some legitimate reason of why he did that. For those of you who may not know, Drake is indeed Aubrey, which is his name. Aubrey is biracial. And so it starts to raise an eyebrow with a lot of black people because we understand that just because you're biracial doesn't mean you have to respect and accept your side that comes from us. And a lot of biracial children, like people, talk about it, but for as a matter of fact, a lot of biracial children accept their quote unquote, I'm using air quote, black side. So it's not like they deny that they're black. A lot of them cling to their black side wholeheartedly, 100%. They don't view themselves, even though they're biracial, they don't at all view themselves as being European. So we still understand, with that being known, put out there, that there are others. There's always another side, meaning another side who could care less about their black side and cling only to their European lineage, and thus and so creating the opportunity, or the appearance at least, which would create the opportunity for one to deem these people racist or possibly racist. Now, they can accept and benefit from this system of white supremacy through their lineage to European society. This is a known thing. This is not something I'm making up. This is not something that should be new to anyone. So it will raise eyebrows and concerns from our people when we want to know what the hell is going on with you wearing blackface, when you know that what that entails. You know, when people do that, you know the purpose of doing that, what that means and why they do it. So here we go. Apparently, more than just the explanation that Drake's going to give, which I'm going to give, of course, him the benefit of the doubt and listening to, but the other question has been raised, which was what caused me to do the stream. It would be one thing if the brother was out here doing work and being vocal, using his platform to be vocal about the things that he says he's so passionate about, so passionate that it made him wear blackface. So that is where this is coming from.
To know why that man was wearing blackface. For you kids who don't know what blackface is, it's the makeup used by a non-black performer playing a black role. And that same energy you all have for white people at Halloween, or those college kids who be doing that for whatever reason, y'all have to have that same energy for your favorite rapper, Drake. And I want to know why he had on blackface and why he thought that was okay. And I think that Drake shouldn't be allowed to say the N-word until further notice.
Well, the thing is about...
And that's a whole nother can of worms that I don't want to open. Excuse me, guys. That's a whole nother can of worms that I don't want to open today. But again, it's going to raise a lot of questions. People are going to say, Nah, G, don't be saying nigga because you're saying nigga in your European lineage way, but using your partial blackness to get away with doing such. Like, because right now Drake has a song that's running all over this radio, telling black women mainly, because that's who listens to him mainly. Hey, you got to be nice for what to these niggas? So it raises eyebrows now that we see you in blackface. Like, okay, maybe that's why you don't want women to be nice to these niggas. What do you mean by these niggas? You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be corny. I'm just saying that it exists right now. That question is in the air. Drake is about to drop an album in like 20-something days. People are he's going to get hit with this question. This is not going to go away. It's actually going to ramp up.
Drake doesn't do interviews, so he doesn't have to answer. But I'm with you. I want to know what we have some questions, and we need some answers. But as far as the diss record is concerned, I think Pusha T planned this. He is a thinker. I'm sure he had this in the cut for maybe a year or so.
Very disrespectful.
And it sounds like he has something else in the cut too.
Absolutely.
He's ready for, in case Drake has something to say, for him to respond yet again.
If I was one of Aubrey's advisors, I would advise Drake to tap out. And the reason I would advise him to tap out is because it's really not worth it to Drake. Like, Drake is not willing to take it what Pusha T is willing to take it. And you never go to war with someone who gives an F less than you. If I was Drake, I would really tap into my white side and just say Terrence went too far. Okay, multiple sclerosis is something that I take serious and shouldn't be rapped about and taken lightly. But I've decided to be the bigger person in this. And I'm not sleeping on Drake at all, by the way. He can't tap out. But I just don't see the angle he comes back with.
I mean, that's the best thing about it. I mean, if you really go back and look at the real battle in hip hop, whether it was Jay-Z and Nas or it was Beanie Siegel and Jadakiss, it was rounds, and these rounds went for a while, and it was all entertaining and good music.
Well, they've been doing this for the past decade, so it's been a lot of rounds. But the most recent rounds, it's been 3. It's 2-1 right now. And it is. See, I don't think Drake has anything on Pusha T. That's why majority of Duffy was about Kanye. Because what are you gonna say? Oh, Pusha's old. Pusha didn't really sell dope like that, and I got more money than you. I sell more records. Boo! Boo! That's weak.
But he's also now made it because of what Pusha T said in the song, you know, to stop talking about Kanye. So he's kind of made it so Drake can't really.
Drake can't rap about Ye. That whole freestyle, or that whole song Pusha just did is all bars about Drake and things concerning Drake.
Well, a little bit
Duffy isn't that, but it's all things concerning Drake.
40 was a little.
That's Drake.
That's 40. But I'm not mad at Pusha for doing that. Because once you mention my wife, my fiance, gloves are off, I'm going in anything.
Yeah, and that's why I say I just don't see the angle that Drake comes back with. I think the best thing for him to do is just tap out. Because this whole album rollout right now, it's going to be about the baby. He may not be ready to talk about that. It's going to be about him wearing blackface and having conversations about race that he may not be ready to talk about. So just tap out. Your album don't come out.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Now, that's the point I was trying to make. Like, I'm going to let it finish playing. Like, guys, it's going to come out. It's going to get bigger than what it is right now. The question is going to be raised. We're going to start having conversations about how do biracial people feel about using the word nigga, period. Especially in a hip-hop setting and things of that nature. We're going to have these conversations because the questions are going to start coming out. And the fact that Drake doesn't do anything remotely close to what for someone to have the so-called passion to do a project where you're going to don the blackface, knowing what it means, etc., etc. But when you get the platform to express all of that, and to drive it home, to be a beacon, so to speak, for your cause, it's like you do nothing remotely close to that. So when Pusha rapped about what he was rapping about, it's actually true. Like, nigga, like, why would I believe that you're not doing it for whatever, fuck the purpose you're going to tell me that you did it for? Why would I believe that when you now have the means? It's like you saying you're doing this to take care of your family, okay? You just trying to rub 2 nickels together to take care of your family. Then you get to the point where you actually can take care of your family. And then you don't do anything remotely close to taking care of your family. You abandon, what up, Suey? You abandon them, etc., etc. Norma in here, and I didn't shout her out. L Boogie. Anyway, you don't do anything remotely close to that. Come on now. Would I still think that you going about the means and the methods that you were using to get to where you are, saying that you were doing it to take care of your family, would I still believe that shit? So apply that to wearing the blackface. You said you're doing it for some big social cause. Nigga, you don't do shit for social causes. You don't say shit. You don't do shit. I'm just saying that's just factual.
To the 22nd, that's a long time from now. People will move on from the topic and keep it moving.
No, they not. Amanda.
Yeah.
Good morning. What did you think about the Pusha T record?
I think that, the fiance baby mom thing is fair game, but I think the 40 thing was I turned it off after that.
Why though?
I don't think, because, you're talking about somebody dying and the MS, I just don't think that was appropriate. I think it was way too far.
That one part did make me wince when I heard it.
Now,
I'm not going to lie. I did go, ooh.
I thought about it.
I turned it off right away.
It was clever.
But Pusha didn't say he wants 40 to die. He didn't wish death on 40. All he simply said was 40 is hunched over the producer board.
Right.
How much time does he have left?
666.
Which can count for all of us, by the way. None of us really know how much time we got left. And then he said the man is 666. That's all factual.
It was a stab.
And you know what? And I will say this,
and
and 40 did say something on Twitter, and he didn't seem upset. He just said today is National Multiple Sclerosis Day.
So we're talking about multiple sclerosis this morning. So salute to Pusha T for doing that good service. That was a PSA that we didn't know we needed. But we got it.
All right. Greg, good morning.
Hey, good morning, man. I was listening to the track while I was listening. I am so excited that Pusha T responded because I was getting sad. I'm like, please don't let this be a Nicki Minaj my situation or another female and drink situation. I'm like, please respond, Pusha. Please respond.
Yeah, but y'all act like Drake didn't reply to Pusha though. That's what we keep forgetting in this whole situation.
I know you replied, and everybody was talking about this. I'm like, oh, Pusha gonna take forever. Pusha not gonna.
I knew that.
I'm like, damn, Pusha's about that life. Pusha wants that. And I'm like, yeah.
He's definitely about that life. Pusha T.
And I saw that this track. I played it.
You think Pusha T walked around with braids for 20 plus years not to be about that goddamn life? I'm gonna tell y'all something else y'all gotta stop doing. Stop disrespecting the veterans, man. Pusha T has been out since 1999. He thrived as a member of the Clips. He thrived as a solo artist. And right now, at 41 years old, he's thriving with a great album, which is Daytona. And he got the biggest rapper in the world right now on the ropes just a little bit. It's 2-1 in the series.
Right. All right. Well, 800-585-1051. We're talking this Pusha T record. Now, shout out to Pusha T. If you don't know, I went to school in Hampton, Virginia, and that's where I actually met Pusha. And there was one time when me and Pusha was on the ropes. Like, we were getting our ass beat up. We were at a club, and we were getting our ass whooped on crazy. Football players, all type of people were whooping our ass. And Pusha started throwing chairs like they were rocks. And he was throwing, and it got us out of there. And I was like, Pusha's a fighter. I've never seen him back down.
But you gotta do it rap.
I'm just telling you. I dare you to tell your old story with Pusha T.
Why don't you tell a story about how Pusha's drug money funded your DJ career? Hey, whoa, now. Let's talk about that.
800-585-1051. Let's go back to the Pusha T record. What did you think about it? Call us right now. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning. Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Hello.
You.
Hey, what do you think about Pusha T's record, man?
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
That's all you saying, huh?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Ain't no more tap dancing. Now you got a boogie, Drake.
Well, I don't know. Drake had on blackface, so he might be doing a lot of tap dancing. More than we know.
Gio.
Hey, morning, guys.
Morning. What do you think of Pusha T's record, bro?
Let me tell you something. I'm 43 years old. I'm old school, man. I'm from the country. Let me tell you. That one is O-V-E-R. Over. Now, I'm not sleeping on R3.
Yeah, I'm not sleeping on Drake either. I just don't see the angle he comes back with, man. I really think the best thing for Drake to do is just tap out. Really
and I keep looking at Drake's page to see if he's written anything yet. So far, the last thing he did was just the I'm upset, and the comments are in shambles.
Drake is I'm telling you, Drake is some way his feelings right freaking out. And that's
And knowing a person like him, the way he acts, the way he responds to things, etc., it's difficult for me to start listening to Drake now. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, and when I say listen to him, I mean listen to his fucking explanation for why you were doing the shit you was doing. Because, like I said, I look at your actions tell more than what your mouth's gonna say, and your mouth is generally going to try to direct me far, far away from your actions.
Shame. 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 Well, everybody's talking about Drake and a blackface. Now, he has acknowledged that everyone's talking about it. And here was the explanation he posted. He said, I know everyone is enjoying the circus, but I want to clarify this image in question. This was not from a clothing brand shoot or my music career. This picture is from 2007, a time in my life where I was an actor and I was working on a project that was about young Black actors struggling to get roles, being stereotyped and typecast. The photos represented how African Americans were once wrongfully portrayed in entertainment. Me and my best friend at the time, Mazen Elsbig, who is also an actor from Sudan, were attempting to use our voice to bring awareness to the issues we dealt with all the time.
Now, I want you to remember that. Exactly, D. Prince. It makes no sense. Because he should have rethought the explanation. You should have rethought that shit. Because the moment you said you was trying to use your platform, why are you not doing it now?
The photos represented how African Americans were once wrongfully portrayed in entertainment. Me and my best friend at the time, Mazen Elsbig, who is also an actor from Sudan, were attempting to use our voice to bring awareness to the issues we dealt with all the time as Black actors. This was to highlight and erase our frustrations with not always getting a fair chance in the industry, and to make a point that the struggle for Black actors had not changed much.
That's a good explanation, but I'd like to see that project.
Right. Well, I don't know. See if he has something or whoever filmed it, because he's not a director or a producer, so he's an actor.
And it's interesting that, he felt like that about Black issues in 2007. I haven't really seen him be standing up for Black issues since he's been in the industry.
I really don't know. I'd love to see.
Now, I've been doing this a long time now. I've been listening to what people say when they try to explain the shit that they do. When I start seeing things that are completely contradictory, like you telling me you sitting down while you're standing up, then we begin to have a problem.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
We begin to have a problem. How in the world could you not even, why you ain't pushed the project out once you got famous? Because your point was you're passionate about bringing awareness and shit like that. Why are you not pushing the project when you get to the point where you can do such?
Awareness to the issues we dealt with all the time as Black actors at auditions. This was to highlight and erase our frustrations with not always getting a fair chance in the industry, and to make a point that the struggle for Black actors had not changed much.
That's a good explanation, but I'd like to see that project.
Right. Well, I don't know. Let's see if he has something or whoever filmed it, because he's not a director or a producer, so he's an actor.
And it's interesting that, he felt like that about Black issues in 2007. I haven't really seen him be standing up for Black issues since he's been in the industry.
I really don't know. I'd love to see it too. I mean, it's easy to just say things when the fire's
on. That's what I'm saying.
But what if it's not his project that he directed and produced and someone else did it and he doesn't have the footage?
I mean, he can get that footage right now. He's Drake. He can get that footage.
So back in 2007, if somebody did something and it didn't work out, what if they don't have it? He wasn't Drake then.
I know Drake's not doing no press with the Breakfast Club. So whoever interviews Drake, just make sure to ask him, like, that was a great explanation. But in 2007, you said you were standing up for Black issues. What haven't you been doing that since you've been in the industry?
It would be in his best interest to come up here and explain some things and talk about some things.
That's not happening.
All right. Well, Dennis Graham, actually, his dad, had to weigh in on some things. Now, he ended up being a hot topic on Wendy Williams, and here's what Wendy Williams had to say.
So you don't write your own music, so anything that you say is not really from your heart. You're stupid enough to wear blackface, and with the cha-cha-cha hands at that, a big, stupid cha-cha-cha smile. And then, what is this we hear about you having a baby with a stripper? By the way, in the same song, he also attacked Drake's dad, Dennis, because Dennis walked out on Drake when Drake was only 5. But now Dennis is back in Drake's life, and Pusha said that Drake parades Dennis around in Steve Harvey suits.
Right.
Wendy does bring up a good point, though. It wasn't the fact that it was just blackface. He was full minstrel. Cha-cha hands, the lips, everything.
Well, if he was acting.
Now, if he was acting, yes, that would just be one thing. If he was acting and he can clearly and openly say he gave a fuck less about any issues concerning the plight of our people in this country right now, etc., in the world, period. Okay, that's one thing. But the fact that you would come out and you would give as a reason and an explanation that not only was it just acting, but you were doing the acting for a reason. It was supposed to be meaningful acting. You took this role to show the world and bring awareness and use your voice. I'm going to take your exact words. Use your voice to make a difference, to shed light on the exclusionary tactics used by these people in this country, in your field, and all over. Now, we asked Drake, what has changed from 2007 to now? Not to mention the fact that absolutely nothing has changed. Good morning. Not to mention the fact that absolutely nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing. You have a larger voice than you ever had 11 years ago. And you do nothing. But you are more than willing to don that blackface. I wonder who came up with that idea. For real. I wonder whose idea that was. I'm going to play this one time and move on.
An actor from Sudan, we're attempting to use our voice to bring awareness to the issues we dealt with all the time as Black actors at auditions. This was to highlight and erase our frustrations with not always getting a fair chance in the industry, and to make a point that the struggle for Black actors had not changed much.
That's a good explanation, but I'd like to see that project.
Right. Well, I don't know. Let's see if he has something or whoever filmed it, because he's not a director or a producer, so he's an actor.
And it's interesting that, he felt like that about Black issues in 2007. I haven't really seen him be standing up for Black issues since he's been in the industry.
I really don't know. I'd love to see it too. I mean, it's easy to just say things when the fire's on.
When the fire's on, that's what I'm saying.
But what if it's not his project that he directed and produced and someone else did it and he doesn't have the footage?
I mean, he can get that footage right now. He's Drake. He can get that footage.
But back in 2007, if somebody did something and it didn't work out, what if they don't have it? Well, he wasn't Drake then.
I know Drake's not doing no press with the Breakfast Club. So whoever interviews Drake, just make sure to ask him, like, oh, that was a great explanation. But in 2007, you said you were standing up for Black issues. What happened to you?
Shame.
Please ask that question, whoever gets to talk to him.
Doing that since you've been in the industry?
It would be in his best interest to come up here and explain some things and talk about some things. I think.
It's not happening.
All right. Well, Dennis Graham, actually, his dad, had to weigh in on some things. Now, he ended up being a hot topic on Wendy Williams. And here's what Wendy Williams had to say.
So you don't write your own music. So anything that you say is not really from your heart. You're stupid enough to wear blackface with the cha-cha-cha hands at that. A big, stupid cha-cha-cha smile. And then, what is this we hear about you having a baby with a stripper? By the way, in the same song, he also attacked Drake's dad, Dennis, because Dennis walked out on Drake when Drake was only 5. But now Dennis is back in Drake's life. And Pusha said that Drake parades Dennis around in Steve Harvey suits.
Wendy does bring up a good point, though. It wasn't the fact that it was just blackface. He was full minstrel. Cha-cha hands, the lips, everything.
Well, if he was acting, but
Yeah, so I'm just watching.
All right, well, Drake's dad responded. Dennis Graham said, I had come to actually like Wendy Williams and watch her show. It grew on me. Here's the game changer. It's very informative when you listen to a talk host report a story they've actually researched and share it with their audience. But this RuPaul Drag Race queen looking bee has stepped out of her lane. You know nothing about Drake or myself. Do your research before you try and be funny to your 79 capacity audience. RuPaul Jr., watch how you speak on our name. I lost all respect for you.
What did Wendy say that nobody else has been saying?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I guess it bothered him because maybe he watches
The cha-cha-cha hips.
All right, now we're gonna grab you and make you sit on our lap.
Wendy did respond already. That's you, Sean. Wendy said, I'm watching the battle closely. I don't know why Drake's dad is mad. All I did was recite Push's lyrics. All jokes aside, I really like Steve Harvey's suits. He's a sharp dresser, and that beefsteak Charlie mustache that Drake's dad has is mean.
That's who got the worst shot out of all of this, man.
See, what's Steve doing?
What does Steve Harvey and his suits do to anybody?
Nothing.
Steve Harvey got a nice line of suits.
Now, speaking of Drake's alleged son, according to sources close to Drake, they are saying that Drake has been cutting checks to the woman, Sophie, the former porn star, who people are saying he has a child with.
What else would they say?
Since she gave birth. And he does plan to take a DNA test, but he does feel there's a slight chance the child is his. So he is going to plan to do that. And they are saying that Drake's new album, he had planned to reveal everything about his new son on that album.
Yeah, Pusha T messed that whole rollout up.
So yeah, that's the word on that.
Did anybody check the name? What's the name of your little boy? Legend?
Adonis?
Did anybody check and see if that's registered to Drake or a company owned by Drake, if it's trademark for any clothes or any sneakers? The Pusha did say that was going to be the name of his line. Did anybody check that?
No, I have no idea.
I'm sure some website will do that today. That would have been the most obvious thing to do. Maybe we should do that. I'm sure TMZ will do it.
All right, well, I'm Angela Yee, and that is your rumor report.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
So I guess we'll find out in the coming weeks more about this blackface shit, more about this deadbeat dad issue. But the point I wanted to make is, Drake, we do not accept your explanation. It seems concocted and contrived. It's not consistent with your actions. I'll say that. So at least for anything, you have some explaining to do on why do you feel differently? Why do you feel now that you have money and an actual voice to shed light on these things and these issues that you felt so strongly about before? Why do you choose to stay so silent now? Please explain that to us. Shame TV East Watch. That has been Drake Blackface. Now it is time to move on. It's time to move on. The next topic of the day will be Cynthia G is now completely on trial. It appears that Cynthia G is now completely 100% without any shadow of a doubt on trial. And we touched on it when the stream just opened briefly about how it is now a consensus among brothers especially the brothers of us who are in support of her, watching her page, supporting her page, because we were liking the content, meaning the things that you were saying and saying that you were for and about. Even when she was critiquing certain type of brothers, when you're being factual, you're being factual. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But once we start seeing you go out of your way to do certain things, we go with the flag again. Red flag starts to go off. But over here, this channel is not a flag.
Shame.
It's a bell.
Shame. Shame.
Only the worthy are able to lift it. Then you got knockoff bells and knockoff shit, but you need not worry about any of that stuff. So anyway, I was coming across, going down my stream, my timeline, came across a video, said how wonderful this is to hear this. And I don't really, let me say this. I'm not going to say I don't mess with Zaza Ali, but I don't really do the Zaza Ali thing. It's just not my cup of tea, but I've heard a lot of things about her that weren't always on the up and up, but you never can believe everything you hear. The gods forbid, may the gods forbid anybody who actually listens to anything that people just say about me, especially out of malice. So I don't want to do that. But today she gets to reign in the sun. She might also be YouTuber of the week, because tomorrow on the Sunday Sundown stream, we're going to expand this conversation with relationship fails and personal accountability on both parts. Because enough is enough, because we're so far away from unity when it comes to black men and black women. It's fucking insane. But I'll let you guys listen. Now this was audio, public audio. I got the audio from Soli Dolo's channel, and it's entitled. You can go over there and check it out as well. The full video. Zaza Ali and Cynthia G's discussion on so-called black men versus black women.
Please. And when we start cutting our men for the sake of being right, for the sake of trying to prove a point, it's very dangerous, because then are we trying to be right, or are we trying to edify our people? Are we trying to speak life into our men, or are we trying to emotionally and mentally castrate them? It's easy to do that. What's difficult is to see a brother who has potential and has the potential to be powerful and speak life into him. That is our responsibility as women. This is why I say I hold women more accountable. Because guess what? We give birth to both. Men come from our wombs. In the same way that we physically give them life, we mentally give them life with what we speak from our mouths and what comes from our minds. So it is very important for us to not use language like black men have no power. You can't tell me Boyce Watkins doesn't have power. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes.
I haven't.
I've been at his events. I've seen the impact. He's helped me. So to generalize our brothers like that, again, being balanced, being able to assess our situation and say, brothers, we need you to step your game up here, but we appreciate what you're doing on this end. Sisters, we need you to step your game up here, but we appreciate you being the glue and being there for our...
Now, before I continue, I just want to say this. I'm glad to hear a woman finally come out and say some of the things that she's saying, because being completely honest, as a man talking to other men, one of the biggest kept secrets in the world is that, because it's never really said a lot, but men gossip or talk about their relationship problems to other men the same way women do. So, like, we just as much, we do the same thing. Like, when we're at work, if a woman go to work and a woman goes to work, she works with other women, they're talking about their men. And when we're working together, you work with other men, we're talking about our girlfriends and our wives and our ladies. So it's the same thing. They do the same thing. And so the things that I hear said about sisters is generally the same thing from men. But I'll let her continue, and then we'll go on a little deeper into it.
Doing on this end, sisters, we need you to step your game up here, but we appreciate you being the glue and being there for our brothers and sisters in our community. It's very dangerous for us as black women, especially when we have big platforms, to use our mouths and be firing off rounds at black men without taking accountability for the role that we played in that as mothers and the women in our and the women in their lives. And then
and that was a shot directly to Cynthia G from Zaza Ali, because on Cynthia G's platform you never hear that. I'm gonna be honest, I don't hear any sisters for real out there doing a lot of that on their platforms, talking about the fails of the woman in our community. Because I always say to women, like, when brothers talk about sisters, you know the sisters, that the type of women that they're talking about, because you know women. You might have a girlfriend whose cousin's like that, or whatever the case may be. So it's I'm gonna let it finish, and then I'll run my mouth.
More importantly, trying to heal them. Are we trying to empower them? Are we trying to heal black men from what they've been through? Do we want them to gain power? or are we just sitting back and firing off rounds for the sake of being right?
You know, Zaza Ali just set fire to Cynthia G's whole claim. Now think about it. Cynthia G speaks against white supremacy. She says that she's against white supremacy and she wants to eradicate white supremacy. But I want you to listen to this.
Okay, so this is her right here. Hold on.
When I did entertain a white man, he was paying me to do it. I don't walk up.
And she said in the events when I did entertain a white man, it was for money. But her exact words was when she did entertain, not if she would ever or anything of that sort. She did say when I did.
And the women in their lives, and then more importantly, trying to heal them. Are we trying to empower them? Are we trying to heal black men from what they've been through? Do we want them to gain power? Or are we just sitting back and firing off rounds for the sake of being right?
You know, Zaza Ali just set fire to Cynthia G's whole claim. Now think about it. Cynthia G speaks against white supremacy. She says that she's against white supremacy and she wants to eradicate white supremacy. But I want you to listen to this.
Okay, this is her right here. Hold on.
When I did entertain a white man, he was paying me to do it. I don't walk out the house for a white person unless some money is involved.
Now check that out. Now, you heard what she said. And she claims she's against white supremacy, but then she falls prey to white supremacy when money is involved. Now think about it.
They're not evil algorithms.
This whole thing with degrading so-called African American men or so-called black men as a collective has to stop on Cynthia G's behalf and all of it. Just check this out. As far as Cynthia G is concerned, if it wasn't for people like Boyce Watkins, Phil from the Live Show, and Tariq Nasheed, she wouldn't even have her platform in the manner in which she has it now. They opened their platforms, allowed her to come over and speak.
And that is 1,000% factual because the first time I ever heard of a Cynthia G was through Boyce Watkins when I used to be, watching his videos. And Boyce lets a lot of people on his platform, like people that I guess that he listens to and he likes you. He'll play your videos on the platform. On his platform, just straight play them. And then people, find out who that person is and go to their channel. And that's how she got a lot of her fan base. You can tell by the size of her first videos to when that happened.
Because she was speaking against white supremacy. And then all of a sudden, her show turned into the Ricky Lake Show.
Exactly.
Let's just continue to keep listening.
Shame.
Okay, so I asked you, Zaza, to point out the lie that I told, and you said you would, and you didn't. You didn't point out the lie that I told. That's number one. Number two, there is a difference between generalizing and making absolutes. Okay, generalization does not mean all. I think that's what people fail to realize. There is also a difference between systemic power and individual power. Individual action and collective.
And generalizations, just so you know, are ambiguous as hell because you're leading us to wonder who the fuck you're talking to. Generalizations are ambiguous as hell because you're leaving us to wonder who you're talking to. You're not being specific. A lot of people can't be specific because they aren't specific because they can't be. You don't know enough people to really generalize people in that manner.
Action. And that's what the people, the thing of it is you guys are paying more attention to the way that I'm saying something versus what I'm actually saying. And I can tell that because none of you have actually addressed what I've actually said, except to attach emotional adjectives to it. You said that I'm saying it for the sake of being right. It's not about me being right. We're sitting in a system of white supremacy that we've been in for hundreds of years. Whether you acknowledge that or not, it's not going to change it. So I said, what are black men doing collectively
That's a very valid question.
And it's a very open and fucking ambiguous question. What black men doing? Because granted, yes, some black men do absolutely nothing on a daily basis to combat white supremacy. Some black men are in the position and have the means to do something to combat white supremacy and do absolutely nothing. Some of them don't even acknowledge the shit. So factually, that is correct. But she is getting upset on the manner in which she's saying things, and she's feeling like, which she'll explain, she's saying things like, you guys are mad about the way I'm saying the truth. No, it's not the way you're saying the truth, for real, for real. It's the way you're putting it. You're not being specific at all. You're saying things like, what are black men doing? So what you're doing is you're saying that there is no, because you are not aware of pockets and groups of black men who link up together and try to do certain things for their community, for their people. Since you're not aware of it, you're going to take your 25,000, 30,000 subscriber based platform and basically throw out that they're not doing anything. That even the ones who are doing something, you're not acknowledging them in any way because you haven't sought them out to see what they're doing. So you're not even making a real attempt because it hasn't come across your eyesight and your vision. It's not happening.
What are men doing collectively to eradicate white supremacy? But the thing is, when you ask that question like that, the question can be asked upon the women. What are so-called black women or so-called
doing to help
American
us?
Women doing collectively to eradicate or end white supremacy now?
Because one thing that I'm going to say is this. A lot of the black men who could, who in the position to actually have time and a little bit of resources to invest in our communities and invest in our people and waking our people up and helping our people progress on this planet, in this society. A lot of those brothers can't do those things because the women that they live with crave this same European white devil, white supremacy society. They crave everything about it. The clothes, the cars, the TVs, the houses, the rings, the shopping sprees, the trips, the everything. Cynthia G, you never addressed that. You never addressed that a lot of black men aren't doing the things for their community because the women that they're with are not about no doing shit for community. They're not with a whole bunch of sisters who like, hey man, since you make good money, you got free time on the weekends. Why don't you go coach baseball or something and work with a lot of kids who probably, need a man in their life, need proper instruction in their life, at least if it's for a few hours a week. There's not a whole bunch of black men running around here saying, I'm tired of my woman encouraging me to do more for the community. It's a lot of them who say that I'm tired of my woman worrying me about keeping up with the Joneses because they got a new car. Now we got to get a new car. Or because such and such got a new ring. Now she want a new ring. I don't be hearing that shit. I don't hear that at all coming from her. So basically what you saying is, since she's going to generalize, we're going to generalize. Since there's more likely than not that the sister that you meet is immersed in the European white supremacist society and culture, which means everything that comes with it, the whole lifestyle, posting on Facebook the new shoes you got her and this, that, and the third, all that shit. You want I'm responsible not only for being a strong black man and being productive and making sure that I can supply you with this European white supremacy lifestyle. And on top of supplying you with this European white supremacy lifestyle, I must still, and on the back end, I must be developing a way to end it. So what you're telling me is I should spoil you, get you, make you think you bougie and all the terms that black women be calling themselves now. I'm bougie and whatever that means. Okay, so you want me to accumulate all of this shit while on the other end finding a way to destroy the way that shit is happening, meaning go against everything that I'm working to accumulate for you to have, so you to be happy with me. There's a lot in there, man.
Shame.
There's a lot in
Shame.
there, and there's a lot of shame in there.
Shame.
Here at Shame TV East Watch, when we talk about things, we examine things that from a rudimentary level. We go to the base and we move forward. If Cynthia G is going to demand of black men to rid or fight against or do something to come collectively against white supremacy, she must be taking her platform, first of all, and using that shit to inform sisters. You must stop demanding white supremacy society things from your man. That has to happen. Peace to people coming in. True for Mama Rika. Mama Rika. I mean, come on now. I'm like, Cynthia G, you officially on trial now. Because I never hear you demand of sisters to remove themselves. I mean, video after video. Don't point to a video you did 10 months ago or 2 years ago. I'm talking about the same way I could openly listen, just pick a video and hear you talking about how black men need to do more. They need to do more because you need to do more and more and more and more. You know, if I could do that, point to a video of you doing that shit, I need to point to a video of you demanding sisters to, you need to stop demanding this European society treatment, Valentine's Day, all of that shit. All of it. That's crazy. But you never hear her talking about
I'm not going to be like Cynthia G. I know that there are people on both sides, male and female, who are now working currently behind the scenes to eradicate white supremacy. I know that we can go in the past and we can dig up at least one so-called African-American female or so-called black female who went by the name of Harriet Tubman, who moved to liberate the collective.
Now, Harriet Tubman wasn't demanding of her man that he make sure he pay the light bill and he pay the rent because she want to keep her check to go shopping and do it. Even today, the mentality of a Harriet Tubman would not be the same mentality of average sister that me as a black man or any other black man would encounter on a daily basis. When we go outside, what we are going to encounter are women who love watching TV, loving hip-hop, not necessarily just loving hip-hop, but just love watching TV, love going out to these events, love when it's such and such day, love everything about this fucking culture. She hits the like button when it says support the troops and support the police and just all immersed in the culture. But then it's my fault for it existing. Because I'm not doing enough. I'm not fighting back against it. When the woman that I love, that I'm in love with, I have to first please her with the white supremacy culture.
Now, the difference between her and women like Cynthia G is she didn't sit back and just complain. She took matters into her own hands and picked up the gun and did.
Like all the other queens, warrior queens, Candace, etc., that are brought up, they ain't sit around. They fought with the brothers who were fighting. They didn't talk about all. They didn't sit around generalizing all the brothers. They didn't do that shit.
Did what was necessary to liberate the collective. That's what she did, or to move us toward liberation, if anything. Now, here's the thing. As females, you have to ask yourself, what is the role and or purpose of the females, the so-called queens, within the liberation?
Mermaid TV.
You can't say that it's all on
what
the
up,
males.
Chemo?
You can't just put all of this on us. You have to say, what can you do? Now, if your position is to uplift men, okay, you can't go about it the way Cynthia G is going about it, because that's not uplifting. That's tearing so-called African-American, so-called black men down, like Ricky Lake. Like I said in another video, her show is turned into the Ricky Lake show. It's like,
and for to kind of put something else behind what he's saying, it's like when you say things to her, especially if you are a man, it is in the realm of, always in the realm of the mere fact that you're addressing her and responding to something that she's saying, that automatically makes you wrong. Because she'll call you a beta, etc., etc. So the fact that a brother addresses a sister, his counterpart, his, you know what I mean, Kev, his reflection. Shame. Because a brother addresses his reflection, Shame. In something that he doesn't like that she's saying, or wants to address what she's saying, he's a beta male. That's why Zaza Ali was firing off of her about, for the sake of being right. And that's what made Cynthia G upset. Why she wasn't really listening to her. After that moment, she was doing what a lot of people do. She was waiting for her to stop talking so she could start talking, because she wasn't listening anymore at that point. Because when people start hitting home and hitting you in the gut, it's obvious. You get emotional. You can tell. And Cynthia G got emotional and she got upset because it hit home. A lot of the things that you say, you're doing it just for the sake of you being right. That's why when someone says something to you, you immediately try to call them a beta male for even what? Responding to something that you saying about me or about my men in general, for responding to you, sister, in a conversation. Just having a conversation with you, I'm a beta, or answering your video, I'm a beta male. That's somebody who gotta be right. That's someone who has to be right. And Zaza Ali hit her.
Because then, are we trying to be right, or are we trying to edify our people?
Exactly.
Are we trying to speak life into our men, or are we trying to emotionally and mentally castrate them? It's easy to do that. What's difficult is to see a brother who has potential and has the potential to be powerful and speak life into him. That is our responsibility as women. This is.
And Cynthia G, have you spoken life into anyone? What brother have you encouraged? Through your thousands of hours of video.
Why I say I hold women more accountable. Because guess what? We give birth to both. Men come from our wombs. In the same way that we physically give them life, we mentally give them life. With what we speak from our mouths and what comes from our minds. So it is very important for us to not use language like black men have no power. You can't tell me Boyce Watkins doesn't have power. I've seen it with my own two eyes.
I could tell you.
I've been at his events. I've seen the impact. He's helped me. So to
just to clarify, that's Charles Wu's power. Boyce ain't got no power because Charles Wu said.
Shame.
I'm just saying.
Shame.
I know where you're coming from, Zaza. I'm just saying. That's But in reality speaking, until that's addressed, until I hear Boyce Watkins come out and say, nah, Charles Wu's full of shit, and I don't know why Charles Wu would tell you that, which Boyce has yet to say. No, that's Charles Wu's power.
Generalize our brothers like that. Again, being balanced, being able to assess our situation and say,
balance. What did we learn about balance the other day? Matriarchal society really were societies that were balanced, not dominating, not the man has to go do it all. No, it was balanced. The women were right there beside us. Our women were right there beside us, and we were right there beside them. Balance. Not a page full of what I need to do, never addressing what you need to do. So basically, you're perfect. You're perfection, and you're just waiting for me to get my shit together because you're already perfection. I'm not going to accept that. You shouldn't even come to the table like that.
Shame.
Yeah, Boyce Watkins that's Charles Wu's power, Bill. Charles is running that show.
Now, you heard what she said. And she claims she's against white supremacy, but then she falls putty to white supremacy when money is involved. Now think about it. Like Zaza Ali said, this whole thing with degrading so-called African-American men or so-called black men as a collective has to stop on Cynthia G's behalf and all of it. Because check this out, as far as Cynthia G is concerned, if it wasn't for people like Boyce Watkins, Phil from the Advise Show, and Tariq Nasheed, she wouldn't even have her platform in the manner in which she has it now. They opened their platforms, allowed her to come over and speak because she was speaking against white supremacy. And then all of a sudden, her show turned into the Ricky Lake show. Let's just continue to keep listening.
Okay, so I asked you, Zaza, to point out the lie that I told, and you said you would, and you didn't. You didn't point out the lie that I told. That's number one. Number two, there is a difference between generalizing and making absolutes. Okay, generalization does not mean all. I think that's what people fail to realize. There is also a difference between systemic power and individual power, individual action and collective action, and that's what people. The thing of it is you guys are paying more attention to the way that I'm saying something versus what I'm actually saying. And I can tell that because none of you have actually addressed what I've actually said, except to attach emotional adjectives to it. You said that I'm saying it for the sake of being right. It's not about me being right. We're sitting in a system of white supremacy that we've been in for hundreds of years. Whether you acknowledge that or not, it's not going to change it. So I said, what are...
Again, first she comes out and says, identify what generalization is, like someone asked her. And we're pointing out that though you are engaging in being generally speaking, so to speak, you're not being specific, which means you are creating doubt. You're leaving a whole bunch of wiggle room inside my mind instead, so I don't know what you're trying to actually convey to me. Okay? You can't do those things. And you can't keep pressing upon shit that no one's talking about. People don't have a problem with a truth being conveyed. People have a problem when you package a truth a certain way. Because when you start the packaging of the shit, of things, it starts to appear a certain way, other than if you just gave it to me in raw form. And raw form is being fair, meaning stop being one-sided, because she makes arguments one-sided arguments. You're always from one perspective, and that's it.
Black men doing collectively to break down the system of white supremacy? You haven't named...
Okay. That's a very valid question. what are men doing collectively to eradicate white supremacy? But the thing is, when you ask that question like that, the question can be asked upon the women. What are so-called black women or so-called African-American women doing collectively to eradicate or end white supremacy? Now, I'm going to say this much. I'm not going to be like Cynthia G. I know that there are people on both sides, male and female, who are now working currently behind the scenes to eradicate white supremacy. I know that we can go in the past and we can dig up at least one so-called African-American female or so-called black female who went by the name of Harriet Tubman, who moved to liberate the collective. Now, the difference between her and women like Cynthia G is she didn't sit back and just complain. She took matters into her own hands and picked up the gun and did what was necessary to liberate the collective. That's what she did, or to move us toward liberation, if anything. Now, here's the thing. As females, you have to ask yourself, what is the role and or purpose of the females, the so-called queens, within the liberation movement? You can't say that it's all on the males. You can't just put all of this on us. You have to say, what can you do? Now, if your position is to uplift men, okay, you can't go about it the way Cynthia G is going about it, because that's not upliftment. That's tearing so-called African-American, so-called black men down, like Ricky Lake. Like I said in another video, her show is turned into the Ricky Lake show. It's like she came in on white supremacy because she knows that's what this community is about. And then suddenly she started to move toward tearing down her own people, meaning so-called African-American men or black men. That's what it seems.
Thing. Sonetta hasn't named one thing, and Garfield hasn't named one thing. Voices individual business isn't breaking down systemic white supremacy. It's not. And the thing of it is you can't tell me that I'm this.
And we gotta hold on before we continue. We gotta do something about this shit.
Shame.
What the fuck is Garfield
Shame.
doing on a panel about anything about anything? Like, stop it, yo. Stop it, man. Cut that shit. We gotta start doing something about these panels too. Boyce Watkins, Phil from the Advice Show, brother, you can type level brothers. And Boyce, we already know where we don't expect to be on any of your fucking panels until we hear about why Charles Wu openly said, and he was laughing at everything like it was nothing to say, that you're just a front guy for him, a pitch man for Genesis. So anyway, but those type of platforms, this panel's got to be checked. Like, what the fuck is Garfield doing on a goddamn panel? Fuck is he?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Respecting Boyce, because I've never disrespected Boyce or demeaned what he's done. I've congratulated him for what he's done. However, acknowledging the benefit of what he's doing isn't breaking down the system of white supremacy. So this isn't about me just wanting to be right. Whatever happens to black men happens to me as a black woman because we are counterparts.
Okay, you just said whatever happens to so-called black men happens to you because we are counterparts. You say you, meaning whatever happens to so-called black men happens to so-called black women because, like you said, we are counterparts. That is true. We are counterparts. But if you're going to say whatever happens to so-called black men happens to so-called black women, then when you start asking the questions of what are so-called black men doing collectively to eradicate white supremacy, the questions can be asked upon the women in a collective sense, being as though we are counterparts.
But I'm not going to, because I noticed that fact. Does not mean that I'm going to sit here and overlook the fact that number one, we have no male leadership. Number two, we have no black male accountability. Number three, we have no standard of.
We have no female leadership, no specific sisters that we can point to and say, yes, these sisters are X, Y, Z. This sister is. You see how that when you're not presenting a one-sided argument, how you have to have accountability. What she's talking about right now. Actual accountability. There's no leadership, period. You can't say things like, there's no male leadership. Why do you keep going out of your way? to specify male in a general sense. Everything she talks about is out of her way, first of all, because you didn't have to say that. Because you could have been honest and true to our plight in the situation and clearly simply said, hey, we don't have leadership right now. Because I remember, Queen Candace, she was a leader. There were men around, and they were powerful, strong men, but she was the leader. So it doesn't necessarily always have to be a man who's the leader. Right? We've proven that throughout our history. So why do you keep specifically wanting to make sure you point out the ills of men? Again, we don't hear you point out the ills of women. That's crazy. Yeah, it does. Yes, Norma. Yes, it's starting to sound bitter and bitchy.
Manhood in the Black community, and there's no mechanism of accountability towards men. Men will sit here and tell Black women to pick better, but they will not tell Black men to be better. Those are just...
Now, that's, again, you're being disingenuous. That is not all that men say. Men say things like, hey, we can't have conversations with you. Adult, rational conversations. I hear more that being said from Black men more than anything else. That Black women are incapable of having an honest, rational discussion. She will not look at her ills and what she has done to contribute to the negative situation. That's what I keep hearing. Now imagine talking to Cynthia G. Imagine, just listen to her. Now imagine you having a conversation with her and you trying to explain to her like the shit she's done wrong and how she's contributed to the breakup or the whatever. And think about what I just said.
Facts. Again, until someone point out the lie that I'm telling, you can forget. That's fine. Take an issue with the way that I'm saying it. You can do that. But what I'm saying is correct. The bottom line is we are subjugated to this system and we are not getting out of it regardless.
And it's one-sided. It's correct, and it's one-sided. It's supposed to be applied equally. And it's not being applied equally. And that's where you're catching your flat. I've said this before in a live stream. I'll say it again. Sisters need to be getting on sisters, and brothers need to be getting on brothers. And that's how it needs to work. Because if you are a brother and every video you make is about how sisters do this and sisters do that, then when you're approached about what you're doing, you don't want to have that conversation. You gaslight the conversation so it doesn't really have any meaning. You do everything you can to avoid, you know what I'm saying, that topic. At all costs, you do whatever to avoid that topic. And Cynthia G, at all costs, you avoid what women are actually really doing in this society to play a part to why we're in our plight. And it's a shame because there's tons of sisters who will openly and readily admit that sisters are playing a 50-50 role in our community being the way that it is. But their voices are drowned out by a collective, because Black women are in a collective, certain Black women, let's say, they are in a collective when it comes to making sure they avoid taking blame for what the fuck is going on. Making sure that every time a black man says to them, look, man, we having a hard time communicating with you, just having a real conversation where I admit my wrongs, you admit your wrongs, and we look at how we can move forward. You, at all costs, well, you did this and you did that. Either ignorant to the fact that you're not recognizing your part in it or purposely doing so. It's got to be one or the other. But at the end of the day, you are not taking responsibility for your part in the problem. If these kids today are messed up, they're just as messed up for black from their fathers or lack thereof, or their mothers who they have. So it's a collective thing. Nobody can be like, it's all the women's fault, because nigga, how would you just ignore all of the shit that men do? How could you do that? How could you possibly say that? Oh, well, women need to do it. How could you just do that and everything you say just is that's it and it ends right there? Never what men have to do with it is our responsibility. Shame TV East Watch.
To what you say.
Okay, you just said that we are subjugated to this system and we are not getting out of it. Now, you've been online for a few years now. I've asked the question before, and I'm going to ask it again with the hopes of an answer. What is your plan and or solution for liberating the collective? And I don't want people coming in my comment section saying that, oh, this is foul for you to ask women this question, because bottom line is, again, what is the purpose and or role of the female in the liberation movement? If you're going to come out and speak against white supremacy, you should have a plan and or solution for liberating the collective. What is your plan and or solution, Cynthia G?
Because you can say we can speak life into men, and I agree. But there's a fine line between coddling and speaking life.
Now, coddling and speaking life into someone, having a fine line between them, is an Olympic-sized leap in logic, what we say over here.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
That is an Olympic-sized leap in logic, honey. Speaking life into someone doesn't necessarily mean you're holding their hand and rubbing it and speaking softly. Why would you automatically make that assumption? Because that's what coddling is. Coddling is making excuses and allowing bad behavior. That's what coddling is. And allowing, covering for, and allowing and making excuses for bad behavior. Speaking life into someone is a completely different process. But here again, you went out of your way to go and give a backhanded comment because I know what you meant by it. Shame TV East Watch. I'm done with Cynthia G.
Shame.
All right, for enough for today. I don't even want to hear her voice anymore.
Shame.
Just so full of shit, man. Why do you keep going out of your way to stress that point, that negative? You keep going out of your way to do that. Last night I was on Sonetta's little channel, the call-in thing, I called it, Shame TV. He was trying to act like he was luring me in by playing my bell because I came in and said peace, and then he starts playing the Shame bell. It's so whatever. But I'm not banging on Sonetta. We had a conversation last night on his platform. I said, I hope Sonetta truly turns over. What up, Darren? Turns over a new leaf, you know, and does right with that platform. I really hope he does. But even being over there, you know, the other night, it's the same with YouTube. It's like, you get a sense of no one really genuinely cares, man. Like, everybody just wants to, I don't know, man, just push their little point and let that be that, man. Like, because the reason I say that is, I was on Sonetta's channel, and he does that same thing, man. You know, like I said, I'm not banging on you, Sonetta. I'm not banging on you. But you do the same thing. You know, you keep always pushing you go out of your way to call people haters. Like, that's not something that should just come natural to one's mouth, man. So to me, even when you present it with facts, like last night, he admitted on his own show, like, yo, the shit that you came out and admitted, which is the nature of one of the reasons why I called, to get you to admit that shit on your own show. You was calling us haters all this time, dog, and you came out and admitted everything that we talked about, basically confirmed everything that we talked about and said about Polite and what was going on with these people in the background as facts. But even still, you'll go, if I come around, you see these whatever, you'll still go out of your way to address me as a hater. Even though you openly admit the reason why I was doing what I was doing, and the reason why I said what I said about you is because, yo, Polite was blah, 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 and you were covering for him. And you openly came out and admitted that basically what I said was true. But you still go out of your way to label somebody and to denigrate people. I saw what you, that's why I wasn't even listening when I called in. I knew you were going to try some weird fuck shit. That's not why I do it. The point was made. If you do the right thing, I'm not going to bang on you. You're not going to call me a hater. You're not going to present to the world that I'm a hater, because I presented to the world that Polite was a fuck nigga and he was on your platform and you was covering for him and he was blah, 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 getting away with it and you was making excuses for him and shit like that. I'm not going to, you admitted that I was right. That was factual. So you can't address me as no hater. You can't address me as a person who was banging on you for no reason, because I gave you the reason I was banging on you. And you admitted that the reason was factual because you attested to it yourself. But this is the shit you deal with out here, y'all. People who go out of their way to paint pictures that they know really aren't true, man. And Cynthia G is prime example of that. That's why we done with that for one day. Shame TV East Watch. It's time to move on to our last topic of the day. I did this video so freaking long ago. And when I tell you guys I forget about these shits, I forget about them. The video I did was entitled Racist Ric Flair and Why Does He Keep Getting a Pass? I did a video 5 months ago, and I might play that one because it's got the Stephen A. Smith shit in it, because that's when he was on ESPN. So we're in June. It was January. So it was this year that Ric Flair was on ESPN with Stephen A. Smith up there just cooning away, wooing away, and all of that shit. And Ric Flair was just as racist as he can be.
Jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Now give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair. So I guess the best thing I can tell you is you're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kid stealing, wheel dealing, limousine ride, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Now give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair.
Can we have that person come out here?
With Stephen A. Smith.
styling, profiling, doing what he lives in, right? The one and only Ric Flair is with us on Mike and Mike, the legend. Gordon Soley interviewing you, and you would get up there and you would start with the whole thing, which has now become iconic, which we've been showing all morning long, and it'll be all over the 30 for 30 tonight. How imitated it has been, how inspirational it was. Where did it come from? Where did the whole limousine ride, jet flying, where did all of that start?
His fantasy world and his family outside.
What if I told you his life was never an act? Nature boy! Toy, like I said earlier in Walmart with my sons, and guess who I see on the right? Ric Flair. They even got another one down here. His old school garb. Right there. And it's crazy because I just did the damn videos talking about how Ric Flair, racist Ric Flair, and how he keeps getting a pass with his racism. And I don't think that included. And this is just another example, pretty much. The other one's old school reference. But this is just another example of him, Ultimate Warrior, getting away with racism. Like Hulk Hogan gets banned from everything. But this motherfucker was running around calling Teddy Long nigga with reckless abandon. So,
looking at in kayfabe commentaries, you shoot with Tony Atlas. We heard of some of the racism he dealt with in the business, coming up in the business in the in the southern-based NWA. What challenges, if any, did you face as a black man trying to make it in a dominantly white man's profession?
yeah, I had my problems there. I really had most of my problems, not a whole lot, but with Ole, you know, he was a bad man. Even if he knew your name, he would call you a nigga. He just didn't care. I remember one time I was refereeing one of his matches, and he was in the corner. I patted him on the back. I was asking him to bag out, and he turned around and told me, "Nigga, don't touch me. Don't put your hands on me."
In the ring?
In the ring. He told me that. One time, I had trouble with superstar Bill Dundee. Elberton, Georgia. I never will forget. It was a high school gym, and something happened during the match, but I was refereeing, and he yelled right out in front of everybody, "Can't you see what they're doing, nigga?" Just like that, man. And I mean, it's just unbelievable. I just kept right on going. Ric Flair walked up to me one time and asked me, he said, "Nigga, you like working here?" And I didn't know what the deal was. And he said there was this was Knoxville, Tennessee. He said there were some girls at the back door, and they were trying to get in, and they told him that I said that they could come in. I don't know who these girls are. I'm going to tell somebody to get in. I don't know who these girls are. But I mean, I think it was just a way to pick at me. And I remember Kevin Sullivan and Eddie Gilbert telling me, you know, that when they went to him to present the manager deal, you know, me being a manager, that he hated it. He didn't want it. Yeah, he hated it. He didn't want no part of it. So Jim Hurd told me one time right to my face, I had to go in his office. Me and Undertaker was in there. Undertaker was having trouble with Ole. Ole said he would never draw a dime. He wouldn't do this. He wouldn't be that. So Taker left, and that's when he came to Vince. But that day, me and him was in that office. Jim Hurd told me to my face, he said, "Teddy," he said, "I can just be honest with you. Ric Flair doesn't like you." So why, I don't know. But
did it change over time?
Maybe. You know, I mean, just for somebody to come up to me and say stuff to me like he did, and to stop me from feeding my family, you know what I mean? I ain't bothering nobody. I'm just doing my job, trying to do something like that, man. And so, I mean, it was just unbelievable. I just kept right on going. Ric Flair walked up to me one time and asked me, he said, "Nigga, you like working here?" And I didn't know what the deal was. And he said there was this was Knoxville, Tennessee. He said there were some girls at the back door and they were trying to get in, and they told him that I said that they could come in. I don't know who these girls are. I'm going to tell somebody to get in. I don't know who these girls are. But I mean, I think it was just a way to pick at me. And I remember Kevin Sullivan and Eddie Gilbert telling me, you know, that when they went to him to present the manager deal, you know, me being a manager, that he hated it. He didn't want he hated it. He didn't want no part of it. So Jim Hurd told me one time right to my face, I had to go in his office. Me and Undertaker was in there. Undertaker was having trouble with Ole. Ole said he would never draw a dime. He wouldn't do this. He wouldn't be that. So Taker left. And that's when he came to Vince. But that day, me and him was in that office. Jim Hurd told me to my face, he said, "Teddy," he said, "I can just be honest with you. Ric Flair doesn't like you." So why, I don't know. But did it change over time? Maybe. You know, I mean, just for somebody to come up to me and say stuff to me like he did and to stop me from feeding my family, you know what I mean? I ain't bothering nobody. I'm just doing my job, trying to do what I'm supposed to do. Gary Hart, since I'm thinking about this, Gary Hart was another man came and told me. He went to Flair and he told Flair to leave me alone. You know, why you fucking with him? He's just doing his job. So, I don't think it ever changed. I mean, me and him have talked since then.
Shame TV East Watch, you know who it is, your host. This has been another video, just a reminder to ESPN. Maybe you didn't see this, maybe you did and ignored it, but I'd like to know how this man has just been championed all over television, celebrated all over ESPN, and he's basically a known racist that's been kept secret while Hulk Hogan took all the shots from what he did. This dude was actually trying to keep people from working and interfere with a man's livelihood. Like Hulk Hogan's opinion is his opinion in his private quarters, and it was just recorded. This individual was out trying to actually deny people opportunities in a business for no other reason than he felt like it, and it was a Thursday, and he doesn't like black people. Shame TV, East Watch. You heard Brother Teddy Long say that he don't think it never changed. Though the interviewer asked him, did it change? He's trying to be gentle with the situation, and I respect that. But he did openly say it never changed, and I'm sure it didn't. So, Shame TV's Watch Racist Ric Flair. Again, we asked the question, why does he keep getting a pass? Hugging Stephen A. and when he mentioned the chains and the necklaces, I don't know what you guys, what's that, whatever. Shame TV, Racist Ric Flair. You don't get a pass over here. Shame TV East Watch. Your host. You know who it is. Had fun today. Whole lot of fun. Before we go, though, got one question to ask. Has anyone shame, and I mean anyone, heard from SOS? Anything about it? Anything that may be going on with it? Any confessions that some people might want to make? Shame. You say no deep breaths? Yeah, no confessions. I was wondering if we were going to have a confession or two. But since it appears we're not going to have a confession, we must demand a confession. But we will not do that here. Shame TV is trying to switch up a little bit from the outlandish. Still staying factual and righteous with the people. Because I do this for the people. Shame. I do this for the people. Okay. So, We're going to do this for the people, but not on this channel, you know. The real fraud catching department will be going live today, and that's a guarantee. And we will be addressing SOS. Because I'd like to know what's going on with it, so. Or hear a confession. Shame TV East Watch. Bill, Leonard, Norma, Triple CTV, Wax was in here, Chemo, and D Prince. Darren stopped through. Who else? Van Digital was in here. The Truth Forum. Who else was in here? Mermaid TV was in here. Mama Rika was in here. Blue Kiss was in here. Karazuka, son of Ama, was in here. Just shouting everybody out that I see. Did I say Norma? I probably did. If I didn't, I'm saying Norma again. Mama Rika was in here. The usual suspects. Salima, where are you? Miss you. T. Cole was in the building. Marcus X in the building. Aboriginal Leo student life was in the building. Thank you for coming through. I hope all you people were likes. New Black Knowledge, peace. Thanks for stopping by. Tamara, thanks for coming through. Sui, my nigga Sui was in here. What the f is up, Sui? L Buggy, that's my girl. Lady Asaya, Tulsa, God in Person TV. Welcome, 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 everybody. Thank you for coming, everybody. Hope y'all hit the like button when you came, or the dislike button, whatever, floats your boat. Shane TV East Watch, peace. Y'all have a good day. Until later this evening, we will be going live and we will be addressing, but not on Shane TV. We will be addressing SOS shit. What's going on with it? We like to know. Sinji's an agent. Nah, I think she's just bitter and confused. Peace, y'all.